And welcome to this webinar on how to win at multi-channel. My name is Mark Van Bree. I'm the Director of Partner Marketing here at ShipStation, and I'm excited to welcome Adam Shabazz of More Commerce on this webinar as well. I think the lessons from today are really based on some universal principles that you can use in your business. So we're excited to get this started. Again, this is us. This is me, Mark, and our good friend Adam at More Commerce. So wanted to kick off a couple of housekeeping notes. All attendees are in listen only mode. Questions can be submitted on the question box. So we've taken questions from the registration page as well, but we'll tackle as many of those as we can during the Q&A session. If you have any technical webinar questions about audio or anything else, we'll do our best to answer those directly in the question and answer box as well. Lastly, this webinar will be recorded and we'll email you when it's available for viewing on ShipStation.com. So without further delay, I'm thrilled to introduce Adam Shabazz, VP of Business Development of More Commerce, so you can learn all about how to win at multi-channel. Adam, take it away.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again, and it's good to be with you. We will as Mark said, we're just gonna cover a few basic principles for how to grow to a multi-channel. So by way of quick intro, I'll just talk a bit about More Commerce and our key product, Auctiva. So More Commerce is a really an umbrella brand. We own a number of different e-commerce solutions in the marketplace. Auctiva is one of them. It's actually one of our oldest. It's been around for about 20 years. But ultimately, More Commerce mission is about helping small businesses grow and help them become bigger businesses. Across our products, we have about 30,000 merchants selling about $1 billion on an annualized basis. Auctiva is a flagship service that helps sellers manage their listings on eBay, save time and sell more. And just last year, we also expanded the service to include Amazon. So what we've seen over the course of the last year or so are a number of merchants who really are sort of eBay first or eBay only merchants, and we've watched them kind of grow and expand to Amazon. And so we've learned a few things along the way, and we thought we could partner with our friends at ShipStation and talk to you a bit about that today. So on the next slide, so we'll talk a bit about the selling opportunity. So really the first question is why go multi-channel, right? You have a good business on eBay, things are working well, but there's market forces that are really compelling businesses from our perspective to increase the opportunity that you're getting access to. So one of the main things that you'll want to do as a business, obviously, if you're selling products and your goal is to grow your business, you want to get that product in front of as many eyeballs as possible. And a lot of those eyeballs are frankly on Amazon, right? So it's no major insight, but Amazon has a lot of customers. And one of the reasons to sell there is just to get access to those customers. But another piece of it is that, it's good to not just be beholden to one marketplace. Now, Amazon and eBay are pretty distinct, right? eBay has a very large, unique type of shopper. Now, there's a lot of overlap, but there's a lot of distinctness to each marketplace as well, right? So eBay has, people who are looking for a great deal on unique items, or they're hobbyists, or they're, distinct in some way, and you might be meeting those folks. But increasingly, we're finding those people are also shopping on Amazon, right? Amazon also is a very fast-growing marketplace. And Amazon is, despite a lot of news probably against us, Amazon is still very SMB friendly, and they have a lot of SMBs selling a lot on Amazon. So as you can see on the bullets here, and this is something that, again, you'll have the opportunity to review after the webinar, but we'll make sure you guys have access to these links and whatnot. But as you can see here, in 2018, there were over 25,000 SMBs that actually were able to grow their sales to over $1 million. So, getting, to a pretty desirable level of growth there. So if you want to make sure your business is secure in the future and you want to ensure you're getting access to the most number of shoppers possible, expanding from eBay to Amazon is really a great opportunity and almost an imperative for your business. So how to do this, right? So if you've been working on eBay a really long time, you certainly know the importance of quality listings. Amazon is a completely different beast when it comes to how to manage your listings. But across eBay and Amazon, it's really important that you want to make sure that your products are searchable, right? If you're going to get your products in front of eyeballs, people need to be able to find that product. And one of the key ways to ensure that your products are searchable is to ensure that you have structured data about your products, right? So structured data is the method that Amazon and eBay are using to identify key attributes about your products and match those products to specific keywords and phrases, right? So when somebody's searching for something, Amazon's trying to decipher, they're looking for a book of some kind or whatever the item is. Amazon and eBay are both using that input from the user to decipher what products to surface up, and you ideally want to get your products to the top of that search result, right? Makes sense. So to do that, it's important to have structured data, and it's not just about guessing keywords and trying to get the search term right. It's about having the most complete listing possible. So when we're talking about structured data, we're talking about color, brand, size, any attributes about your product that can be clearly defined and linked to a potential type of category. So depending on the product that you have, you want to make sure that those attributes are clearly defined, and you want to be potentially using a tool to make that very clear. But even if you're just going directly and doing it yourself, you want to have those clearly defined in your listing. And those having that structured data organized and laid out in a clear and concise way will help your products rise to the top of those search listings. And again, having more complete data, it's a competitive marketplace, so having more complete data will set you apart from other sellers who are trying to obviously get those dollars and get those eyeballs. So on the next slide, please. So the other piece of this is seller performance, right? And this is actually closely linked to listing quality. So both eBay and Amazon are using algorithms to decide who's going to be, again, it's what product is going to come to the top and what product do they want to connect their customers with, and that product is coming from a specific seller, right? So better product listing quality is going to help your seller score. But it's also going to, there's more that goes into your seller score aside from that, right? So Mark will talk about this a bit, but certainly shipping on time and providing accurate tracking in a timely fashion is going to be very important. Making sure that the products you sell are obviously genuine and that you're dealing with customers in a way to make them as happy as possible. Avoiding overselling is going to be a really big piece of multi-channel selling. If you sell out on eBay and your product is still listed on Amazon and somebody orders that product and you're out of it, then you're going to have to cancel that order. And minimizing those cancellations is actually really critical on both platforms. Especially, actually, I think this is an important point to emphasize. If you are a new seller on either eBay or Amazon and you oversell or you cancel a lot of orders, those platforms don't have a lot of information about your performance as a seller. So if you only have a handful of sales and you cancel one of those sales, there's a very high percentage of your sales now from their perspective are basically not performant. And so that would mean that you as a seller are potentially not performant. So having one of these errors early on in your experience with one of the marketplaces can actually doom your store for a very long time. It can be a very, very deep hole to dig out of. So it's very important to make sure that you're not overselling that you're shipping on time, and that you're working with your customers, making them happy, being polite, and just providing a great customer experience as you would if somebody walked into a store, in a brick and mortar store. Next slide, please. So we went into this a bit about what is overselling, but you want to make sure that, again, that the available quantity is actually available. And when you're listing on 2 places, and you have 10 inventory in your warehouse or in your shop, you're going to have to list. You want to list that available inventory both places. If it sells out, you need to make sure that it sells out both places so that you don't create an overselling situation. So, to do this, you really want to make sure that you're staying on top of your inventory, that you're decrementing the inventory amounts for every product. Now, this sounds like super simple, but when you have multiple SKUs and you're selling a decent amount on a daily basis, this can get really unwieldy really fast. So, having something that helps sync between the marketplaces can be a strategy to just sort of handle that for you and make sure it's not that you're not going to have a human error type mistake that's going to cost you money down the line. And so, as we said, if your seller reputation or seller score suffers on either of these marketplaces, that can be a big hole to have to dig yourself out of. And it's something that can happen, inadvertently, and we've seen it happen inadvertently, and it's not a happy situation. So it's best to just do what you can to avoid that. You don't want to have angry customers who are, especially, around the holidays, people are trying to get items, and if you oversell and you cancel orders, especially if people have pushed to the last minute, you can have a really bad reaction to that. So you want to avoid that. And then when it comes to your brand reputation, not every seller is concerned about their brand, but for the ones who are, it's really important to make sure that your customers are, having that good experience so that the brand that you're putting in the market does not suffer. Next slide, please. Okay, so one of the other things, so this is, again, we've kind of oriented these slides around eBay first or eBay only sellers that are considering expanding to Amazon. So one thing that is important is to really plan your launch on Amazon, and to make sure sort of you're the right fit and is the place that you want to go next. So put some tips here for when to consider it. So if you are selling primarily used items, Amazon could be a good fit for you. It's absolutely crucial that you have G10s on your products that can be converted to Aysens. Having more specialized products or handmade products. Now, Amazon has a handmade service that they've been sort of they've launched it, and they are a little bit keeping a little bit close to the vest still at this point, but it's still a very much a separate service from Amazon.com, the place where is the larger marketplace. But to get on the larger marketplace, you really need to have G10s, and the reason why you need that, or UPCs or something like that. The reason why you need that is because Amazon's actually using that information to control the content and to enrich their search listings. So it's really critical that you have those if you want to launch Amazon Marketplace, and that you're able to ship promptly. On both marketplaces, shipping is very important, but when it comes to Amazon, as anybody who's been there for a long time will tell you, or even at launch, they're going to be pushing to move people to Prime as much as possible, and having a good shipping record, or potentially even the ability to, or at least the willingness to consider using a third-party logistics service like FBA will be critical to your success. If you're not willing to do that, it doesn't mean that Amazon is not a right fit for you, but it's just something that you should consider, or at least when you're thinking about your growth potential there, it's something that would potentially temper the total amount of growth that you might be able to achieve. And then something that we see a lot of folks sort of get caught up on. Selling on Amazon is you don't have to join the Pro plan, but if you want to use a multi-channel selling tool, if you want to get access to a lot of the key services, it's pretty much mandatory to join Pro, and that costs $40 a month. So a lot of folks see that and they're like, oh, actually don't want to do this. Well, you have to consider that $40 a month as basically the cost of doing business. It's fairly cheap rent for getting access to such a huge amount of customers. But if it's not something that you're willing to do, or not, if it's not the right time, or you're not willing to expand to make that investment, then Amazon's probably not right for you. As I noted, Amazon does want more people using FBA, and they're pushing on that heavily. And they really want people to invest in marketing. Now, this all sounds like Amazon wants you to pay Amazon, and that's probably not completely untrue, but it's not just for the purposes of generating more revenue for them. It's also about producing a better customer experience, right? If you don't have Amazon Prime and you've used Amazon without Prime, you'll notice very quickly that the experience on Amazon without Prime is nowhere near as good of an experience as Amazon Prime provides, right? So Amazon wants customers to join Prime. They want to provide that premium experience, and they want more people. They want more supply in their Prime program, and FBA is key to that. So likewise, in terms of investing in marketing, Amazon is a very competitive marketplace, and there's a lot of sellers selling the same items, and you'll compete for the buy box. So to make sure you can kind of rise above all the other sellers, they want to see that people are willing to invest in their products and invest in their brand, and that you're willing to do more than capture sort of latent eyeballs that happen to come across your product. So if you are willing to do those things, then Amazon is probably a great fit for you. If you're not willing, it doesn't mean it's not a great fit. It just means that you might want to think about it a little bit more before you put the work in to actually launch there. Next slide, please. Okay, so again, FBA is a big piece of Amazon, and they're going to continue to push down that path. And for many sellers, it's actually really critical. If you're selling, popular items or branded items, it's almost a requirement, because there's almost definitely a seller who's already selling with FBA and possibly selling that item, right? So you should really spend the time to understand if FBA is the right fit for you. You don't necessarily need it on day one, but depending on your products, you might want to go and search your products on Amazon and see if that's going to be a good fit for you. And also, I think it's a big piece of this is budgeting. Now, we've actually partnered with Amazon to help provide an extra level of service to sellers who want to onboard. But from their perspective, they want to actually see, before we even refer people to that team, they want to see that the seller is willing and interested in both FBA and in investing in marketing. So, they're actually willing to come part of the way and help with the setup and help make you successful, but they want to see that people are willing to make that investment. And the reason why is because Amazon is such a competitive environment, right? You're not just competing with other sellers here in the States, but you're competing with sellers abroad. And there really needs to be something that sets you apart from those individuals. If you're not ready to or willing to commit in marketing, you should really it should probably give you some pause, and you should potentially wait and just build out a financial plan and see what that might look like, right? And when I say build out a financial plan, I'm just talking about if you're going to invest $100 or $500 or $1,000 into Amazon marketing, and you're willing to actually make that commitment, you want to have a reasonable expectation that it's going to take some time to get that money back. You need to be willing to lose a little bit of it so you can understand what the return on that marketing investment is going to be. And you just need to build out a plan and make sure that it's part of your business to make that investment, knowing that it's not going to be super efficient on day one. And if you're not willing to do that, or you're not in a position to do that, then you might want to wait until you are. As I've noted, we've actually partnered with Amazon to help new sellers. It's more on the higher revenue side, so folks are selling about $20,000 per month or more. So tends to be on the much higher revenue, but we also have additional levels of support for smaller merchants. And on the Auctiva side specifically, we sort of specialize in those smaller merchants, and broadly, more commerce specializes in helping smaller businesses. So, but if we work with you and get you to that place, or you're doing that $20,000 or more, Amazon does provide extra levels of support to help folks onboard or optimize their presence on Amazon. And I'll plug Auctiva a little bit here. But so in terms of creating your listings, we actually provide a tool to get your eBay products onto Amazon with one click. That's just using our data that we get from eBay, and then we basically built some technology that will list it all to Amazon without you having to do any work. And that will also handle all the structured data and everything else that we've talked about. And then if you want more information on Auctiva specifically, on what that product provides, and again, we try to make this higher leveled and helpful for folks who just are interested in going from eBay to Amazon. But if you are interested in Auctiva, we host webinars twice a month, and you can ask questions to the product managers and get into that. And we're happy to, we would like to welcome you to join those webinars as well. And you'll see later in this presentation is my email contact information. I would be happy to answer your emails or schedule calls as needed. And I believe that is the end of my section.
Thank you so much, Adam. Those really were some fantastic insights on Amazon and how to get started. Before diving into kind of the shipping part of this, the multi-channel shipping part, I wanted to reiterate the case for multi-channel selling. Here at ShipStation, we've seen merchants have huge successes with a multi-channel approach. Sellers with one additional channel sell more than 30% more on orders. Sellers with 5 channels compared to one channel sell over 200% more in orders. And important to note there that there's very little cannibalization there. They're incremental sales. So they're, adding channels is not detrimental to sales on other channels. It's incremental sales. So you talked a little bit, Adam, about Amazon is where people go, right? We found that nearly half of the U.S. internet users start product searches on Amazon, right? It's no longer they no longer exclusively use Google or Yahoo or search engines. Amazon is a search engine. Nearly half of product searches start on Amazon. And with that, some research study found that about 2/3 of shoppers said they're actually comfortable purchasing from merchants they've never heard of before, but they're on a familiar marketplace, right? So being on a marketplace it has some kind of built-in trust factor there. Of course, taking advantage of software and services to really effortlessly sell and ship your products across these channels is crucial, however. You don't want to copy and paste. It's crucial that that structured data is intact. So these listing tools, making sure that all that information syncs seamlessly between those channels, between those pieces of services. So really wanted to talk about how shipping can make a difference for your company as an e-commerce seller. More channels is more orders, but have you really thought through shipping? I would caution people never to think of shipping as an afterthought. If you've optimized your sales channels, your listings, you can have all the best SEO, you can have the best converting copy on your listings, you can have that buy box, you can sell a lot, but if your shipping experience is not great, you'll never be truly successful. Thanks to marketplaces like Amazon, customers now really have a high expectation of high quality, high speed fulfillment. So if you want these customers to return, you have to treat shipping as really an extension of your brand. Um, to add to that, marketplaces have really tuned into the importance of the delivery experience as well. So customer satisfaction is tracked and measured with things like order defect rates. Adam, you talked about this, right? You can't get the buy box if you're not a reputable seller, and shipping is a huge part of that reputation. So on-time shipment rates, those are metrics that all of these marketplaces track very, very stringently. And you fall below their benchmarks, and you get dinged on your listings. So it's crucial that you're tracking posts back to these channels. And of course, from our perspective, that's without having to copy and paste, right? You don't want to have to copy and paste tracking information from your shipping back into the channel so that it gets updated. You want that all to flow seamlessly. So shipping can really be your competitive advantage on these marketplaces as well. So minimize that fulfillment lag time. Ship orders by the end of the next business day is typically the latest these platforms have set. Deliver orders within the marketplace required business days, right? Depending on what kind of shipping request comes in. So if they request high-speed shipping, you better deliver that within 2 days. If they request free shipping, there's some more leeway there for maybe 5 to 7 days. You have to provide these valid tracking numbers for all shipments. If you don't, you get dinged. And it's best to offer free shipping across the entire assortment. That really gets to the core of this as well. So how do you create these efficiencies in shipping? These orders come in. If you're a multi-channel merchant, orders come in from eBay, from Amazon, maybe from your own site as well. Different order sources. You have to have one platform where you can manage that, and ShipStation is something, of course, that delivers that. But more importantly, what it does is you can really have a good overview of what's coming in, what needs to go out, and do that efficiently. If it's really the case, if an action can be applied to more than one order, it should be automated, right? So, and you should map things like requested services. So you can map free shipping to a ground service so that you make sure that you don't overpay. You can map expedited services to the service of your choice. So, if that's a FedEx or UPS service, next day service that you want to use for that, you can map that exactly as the customers request these service levels. So there's a million ways to customize your workflow that way, a million ways to automate your workflow that way. You really have to think through your shipping process and see, where can I create these efficiencies? It's based on delivery time and cost. Again, free value, you can do that with USPS, or maybe expedited with a faster courier, where you make sure you have the tracking as well. So more on that. Efficiencies are created with batching, right? So if you have hundreds of orders coming in every day, you don't want to have to print those labels one by one. You want to make sure that your warehouse workers, it can be a garage, it can be a warehouse, but wherever you ship from, you want to make sure that those batches are printed efficiently. With ShipStation, you can print picking lists, so you can pick those orders in a single batch and print the labels together. Have those automation rules there so that the shipping services and package types are automatically ready. So it's literally the orders come in, automation rules run, and you can hit print on a batch. It should be that easy. For some of our bigger merchants, we see scan to print being something that can really create more efficiency as well. It's shortcuts, right? You can verify products in your order with a barcode scan. You can scan to print a label based on barcodes at your workstation. So rather than having to click through, it's quick scanning actions that can really speed up these processes. We have merchants that have improved their shipping processes by 2 minutes an order. And if you have hundreds of orders coming in, you can do the math on how much time and how much manpower that can save a business. So, we're all about however you ship, right? Our core core to ShipStation is wherever you sell, you can import orders to ShipStation, and however you ship, because we really believe in making sure that you as a merchant are not tied down to one choice, right? We want to offer you choice that works for your business. So the benefit there is by using, especially if you want to offer free shipping to be competitive and have that competitive advantage in the market, you want to have the most cost-effective mix of services. You um, you can pick these, mix and match these services based on geolocations, based on your business needs, and whether that's your own negotiated rates with these carriers, or you're taking advantage of ShipStation's discounted rates that we've negotiated with carriers. It's we're really flexible in that way. We also work with drop shippers and 3PLs. So if you, and of course, Amazon FBA. So if you have different ways of fulfilling your orders, maybe some of the orders you fulfill yourself, some of the orders go through a 3PL, some of the orders go through Amazon FBA. It's still beneficial to have that all in one place, easy to manage those orders. So that's really the core to ShipStation, is offering you the luxury of choice, but also the ability to become that much more efficient in your order fulfillment. And with that, of course, your seller ratings on these marketplaces will shoot up if you have that great fulfillment experience. So with that, wanted to open it up to some question and answers. We've gotten some great questions in before during the registration period. So with that, I'll kind of pick out a few highlighted questions here. So Adam, this is a good question for you. Is there an easy way I can get my eBay items onto Amazon? I know you touched on that, of course, a little bit, but maybe there's some more you can expand on.
Sure, yeah. So as I mentioned, Octiva actually provides a tool to basically get your eBay items onto Amazon with a single click. Amazon, being a buy box environment, does a good job of matching content to UPCs. So as long as you have, well, you need to convert the UPCs to Aysens, but Amazon actually has a tool for that. But if you want to use a tool like Octiva or go to Amazon directly, there are some tools out there for you to take your eBay listings and grab those G10s if you have them, convert them to Aysens for Amazon, and then that will actually populate content within Amazon.
That's great. We had a shipping question come in here. We're set up using ShipStation using Amazon FBA. And can we set up FBA for Amazon UK? So we do have Amazon FBA connections to amazon.co.uk and amazon.ca, so Canada and the UK. We have a great help center that offers more specific instructions on that as well. So we'll be sure to follow up with the person that asked that question to provide those links. But it's definitely, yes, ShipStation can definitely connect to Amazon UK and Amazon Canada. Here's an interesting question that came in, maybe Adam, for you. Does Amazon accept used products?
Sure. So Amazon actually does accept used products. There are some Amazon categories that only accept new items, and I think generally speaking, there's probably, I think generally speaking, Amazon's considered a place for new products. They do actually have quite a few categories that accept used goods, and a popular one obvious one would be books, for example. So they actually have a link that I could share with the person who asked the question, that basically provides all the different categories and whether they accept new or used items.
Great. And maybe slightly related to that, how can folks create, or can folks create their own ASIN number?
So Amazon Seller Central provides a tool that allows you to create an ASIN. Amazon will have to approve that product. All of the product data on Amazon is considered owned by Amazon, and they manage it very closely. Again, this goes back to what we discussed earlier around Amazon being a effectively a search engine for products. But once Amazon approves your product, they will assign an ASIN, and then you can basically use that ASIN to match back to other eBay items, or basically that becomes the permanent identifier for your item on Amazon, and you can match that to a UPC or anything you want to sort of have your single unified product.
Great. We have a quick ShipStation question coming in here. Is ShipStation able to be integrated with Microsoft SQL? We do have over 300 integrations with ShipStation. Microsoft Dynamics is definitely part of that. I think we also have the ability, we have great API endpoints and custom store capabilities where folks with a little bit more knowledge can create their own integrations, their own solutions. In addition to that, I want to make sure that people know we have a great network of solution provider agencies that have terrific expertise in the e-commerce industry that have built out solutions for customers as well. So definitely, ShipStation is definitely able to work with a lot of different integrations, and really you can make whatever solution you need it to be, make it happen. Let's see, we have a few more questions that came in. Is there help I can get to get my Amazon account set up? Is one of the questions that came in. Adam, that's a good question for you.
Sure, sorry, I was muted. So the question was, can I get help to get my Amazon account set up? So Amazon actually does provide, we've actually partnered with Amazon to offer a extra level of service to help sellers get their account set up. Amazon itself doesn't provide service for just anybody. So if you are if you're already selling in the $20,000 a month type of level, the Amazon will provide some extra level of service for that through their enterprise program. We partner with them to sort of validate sellers through their eBay sales and basically pass those off to Amazon, and they'll accept that for an extra level of support. And then Auctiva specifically will help any seller who comes through. Since we're in the business of helping small businesses, we are very much tuned into what our sellers need. So if you are working with us directly, we can offer that extra level of support for helping you get started.
Great, thanks, Adam. I think one more question came in, and we're probably nearing the end of the Q&A session here. How does centralized inventory management work? Is that something you could?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, sorry about that. I was muted again. I will figure out this mute button by the end of this thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so centralized inventory management. It's a great question. So, basically, when you're selling a product on two marketplaces, you're going to have basically two listings on two marketplaces, and that's going to, you're going to have to manage orders for those two listings. You're going to have to basically do everything twice, right? So centralized inventory management basically helps create a single sort of product, quote unquote, that digital product or a representation of that product for you to sell, and manages inventory across channels for you. So a lot of multi-channel selling tools help you manage inventory across channels, and it gives you a centralized place where you can, update your inventory and decrement your inventory, and then that tool will go basically log into Amazon and eBay on your behalf and make those changes for you in real time. And that, again, that's just helps improve your seller score and helps improve your sales outcomes over time.
Fantastic. One last question here. How much does it cost to start selling on Amazon?
Sure. I'm glad we're getting a lot of these. Basically, if you are not in the Amazon Pro plan, they will charge 99 cents per item fee just to get access to the seller tools, or sorry, to actually get paid and get your orders. So they're going to take a, depending on the price of your product, they're going to take a fairly hefty fee, and they're really trying to encourage people to get into the Pro plan. The Pro plan is $39.99 a month. And basically, if you're planning on doing any kind of volume at all on Amazon, it's definitely a good way to go. You get access to much better tools, and that will really help pave the way for you to be successful on Amazon. So I would say, plan on investing that $40 a month if you're going to launch on Amazon.
Fantastic. Well, I think that might wrap it up nicely here. No further questions have come in. Thank you all for joining us on this webinar today. We hope you learned a thing or two and want to get started on selling on multi-channel. Here is our contact information. Should you have any questions for either of us, feel free to reach out to me or Adam. We're happy to answer your further questions. Wanted to list a couple more resources. So Adam mentioned Octiva does frequent webinars where you can learn more about the specifics of the product. Really encourage you to sign up for one of those if you're interested in selling on Amazon. And of course, ShipStation, we do webinars as well on a frequent basis on all kinds of topic, multi-channel shipping. When it gets closer to holidays, we have big holiday deadline content out there. So always good, fresh, interesting content there. So sign up for webinars at shipstation.com/webinars. On shipstation.com, you can also, of course, start a free trial, free 30-day trial to test out ShipStation. If any other questions, we're happy to answer them after the webinar, and we'll make sure to get in touch with you. But thanks again so much, everyone, for joining us here today. I had a lot of fun. Thanks, Adam, for joining us here. Great to have you in this partnership, and I'm looking forward to seeing lots of merchants sell a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark, for having me, and thanks everybody for attending. I hope it was educational and helpful.
Thanks, everyone.